The other day, I was in the White House and then later on in the halls of Congress listening to Pope Francis. And the remarks that he made moved me very much. And I think that there are words that he gave us that we should heed. And let me just mention what he said a few weeks ago. He appealed to the world's leaders to seek a new economic model to help the poor and to shun policies that sacrifice human lives on the altar of money and profit. That's Pope Francis. And essentially what he is saying in so many words is there is something very wrong in this world, and I am saying in this country, when so few have so much and so many have so little. This country should not lead the world in income and wealth inequality. This country should not lead the world in having the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth. This country should not be the only major industrialized country in the world that does not guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child as a right. This country should not be the only major country that does not guarantee paid family and medical leave. So we have got a lot to do. And what we have got to do and what this campaign is about is not just electing Bernie Sanders. What this campaign is about is bringing millions of people together to demand that the United States government start representing all of us and not just a handful of billionaires. Specifically, what does that mean? Well, first, what it means is we understand that we need to create millions of decent paying jobs in this country because real unemployment is over 10% and youth unemployment is 30, 40, or 50%. I do not want the United States to lead the world in having more people in jail than any other country on earth. So I believe that we have got to invest in education and in jobs, not in jail and incarceration. I do not want to see Hispanic youth unemployment, real unemployment, at 36%, African American youth unemployment at 51%. I want to see our young people working or in school, not hanging around on street corners. What we also know is that millions of our people are working at wages that are just too low. I was here in Des Moines a couple of months ago and I talked to a fellow who works at the farmer's market. And what he does is he takes some of the food that has not been sold and he brings it to the emergency food shelf. And what he told me is that 90% of the people here who go to the emergency food shelf are working people, but they're not earning enough money to adequately feed their kids and their family. And that is why, in my view, we have got to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, $15 an hour over the next few years. And when we talk about pay equity, what we are also talking about is the fight to make sure that women get pay equity in this country. Women should not be earning 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. There is no excuse for that. So what this campaign is about is rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure and creating millions of jobs. It is about hiring teachers for our kids, not firing teachers. It is about universal child care, so that when a mom and dad go to work, they know that their kids are in a high-quality, affordable child care. What this campaign is also about is saying that the wealthiest people in this country and the largest corporations, many of whom are doing phenomenally well, will finally have to start paying their fair share of taxes. It is not acceptable to me that large corporations stash their money in tax havens and in some cases do not pay one nickel in federal income tax at the same time as children in America go hungry. That is wrong. That is going to change. And when we talk about education, it's not just child care, and it's not just having the best public schools in the world. You know and I know that right now there are hundreds of thousands of bright young people who have the ability, who have the qualifications to get a college degree, but they can't go to college for one reason: their families lack the funds. And that is why I have proposed in the Senate and will make happen as president free tuition at every public college and university in this country. And that is good not only for people in college, it is good for the young people in the 4th grade and the 6th grade, because I want every kid in America to know that if he or she studies hard and takes school seriously, they will be able to go to college regardless of the income of their families. And when we talk about some of the major issues facing this country, let me mention to you what many of you already know, is that we have a campaign finance system in this country which is corrupt and which is undermining American democracy. The Citizens United Supreme Court decision is a disaster. It is allowing billionaires and the wealthiest people in this country to literally buy elections, put into office people whose sole job is to work for the wealthy and the powerful. And that is why I will do everything I can to see that the Citizens United Supreme Court decision is overturned. And when we talk about important issues, and this is what Pope Francis has talked about for the last several days and the last several years, everybody here has a moral responsibility to make certain that the planet that we leave our kids and our grandchildren is a healthy planet and a habitable planet. And that means that the United States has got to lead the world, working with China and Russia and India and countries all over the world in transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel into energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And when we talk about major issues, we are going to reform a broken criminal justice system. And we are going to hold police officers accountable for their actions. And when we also talk about the pressing problems facing this country, there's obviously an issue that the Latino community feels very, very strongly about. We have 11 million undocumented people in this country. And I am profoundly disgusted by some of the demagoguery and some of the racism which has been addressed at those people. People can disagree about immigration reform, but racism and demagoguery on this issue in the year 2015 is unacceptable. Now, my own view is that when you have 11 million people undocumented, we have got to take them out of the shadows and bring them into the light of day. Give them, right now, legal protection. And we need comprehensive immigration reform which leads toward a path toward citizenship. That is what we have got to do. So there are a lot of major issues that are out there. The problem that we are facing in this country, in my view, is that you have a handful of people who are extremely wealthy and who are extremely greedy. They are very religious people. Their religion is greed. And no matter how many billions of dollars they have, they seem to want more. And if that means cutting Social Security or cutting Medicare or cutting Medicaid, that is what they are prepared to do. But I believe from the bottom of my heart and what this campaign is about, if we do not allow our opponents to divide us up, white against black, straight against gay, man against woman, people born in the United States against people who were not born in the United States. If we stand together and are united, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Thank you all very much.